Hi, Veritas. I saw your movie on the slavery of sciences to philosophy, and well, I guess I'm in broad agreement with your general points you were trying to make. I noticed a very interesting pattern that I'd like to discuss with you. So, yeah, if you'd be so kind as to join me over at the chalkboard for a minute. So, yeah, I noticed a very interesting pattern here. So, there's three kinds of people we're talking about. We're talking about scientists, we're talking about priests, and we're talking about philosophers. And they all make two very interesting claims. So all three of these kinds of people make two claims about themselves, and I've phrased them like as follows. First claim is, "I'm your daddy because," and the second claim is, "You're my bitch because." Now, yeah, this is kind of a whimsical, colorful language, but yeah, in your video you used some strong language too. You said that sciences should be like the slave of philosophy. So, kind of following your lead here. Basically, if I were to rephrase these in more formal language, this is the reasons why all three of these people are claiming some sort of basic or some sort of foundational knowledge which puts them at the cornerstone of our culture. Let me put on the scientist hat first, and we'll do it from the scientist viewpoint. So the scientist says, I'm your daddy because I use the scientific method, and you're my bitch because I have objective results. Now, what the scientist is saying is nobody else can make this claim. I have objective results. I have repeatable, verifiable results that put me at the cornerstone of culture. Now let me put on the priest's hat and see what the priest has to say about this. The priest says, I'm your daddy because I have the true revelation. Not all of human life can be forced into this objective results business, and so we need another source of knowledge, and I have it. And you're my bitch because I know what God says. And after all, I mean, God's the one who created this whole cosmic area that we're living in here, right? So, what possible better source of revelation and what possible source of knowledge could there be than that? So, this is why I should be at the cornerstone of culture. Well, let's put on the philosopher hat now and see what the philosopher has to say about this. The philosopher says, I'm your daddy because... yeah, why exactly does the philosopher claim to be my daddy? So the philosopher is kind of sitting there looking at both the scientist and the priest and doesn't really like those answers. But, does the philosopher really ever come up with an answer as to why I'm your daddy? I think you might find it very interesting, Veritas, to go back and look at your video and see if you can extract from your video actual argument as to why philosophers should really have this special source of knowledge that neither the scientist nor the priest has. I tried this on your video, and here's the best I could come with. As a philosopher, I'm your daddy because everything presupposes philosophy. You can't even open your mouth and make a claim about anything without doing philosophy. And therefore, you're my bitch because, yeah, and here again, I mean, philosophers, why exactly should we be the bitch of philosophers, right? Everything presupposes philosophy, so I guess, yeah, I'm a philosopher. And since everything presupposes philosophy, well, therefore, you're my bitch. Well, now that we've filled out this whole table, let's take a look at it. And I'm sure the pattern is emerging to you as clearly as it emerged to me. I mean, we have these three different areas of culture represented by three different professionals: the scientist, the priest, and the philosopher. And all three of them claim some special source of knowledge, which nobody else has, and which gives them a license to claim some sort of special, results derived by this method, and some sort of special claim to be like the basis or the cornerstone of our society. Yeah, all three of these guys are claiming to be the foundations, the very, cornerstone upon which our whole society is built. And yeah, if you lay out the reasons why everybody believes this in a table like this, kind of all of their answers and all of their rationales seem kind of lame if you just look at them like this, right? So, Veritas, what should somebody like me do, right? I am not a scientist, I am not a priest, and I am not a philosopher. I'm just a working stiff who's trying to live a halfway decent life. I'm trying to raise my kids as best I can. I'm trying to pay my bills. And I have these three classes of people who each one of them are telling me that they are where it's at. They have got the truth, right? Yeah. Uh, Let me suggest something for your consideration. This whole metaphor of slavery and master, or this whole metaphor of daddy and bitch, is just a bad metaphor to kind of like relate these different areas of cultures. I really don't think that any area of culture is more foundational than any other area of culture. I really don't think that any class of professionals really has any legitimate claim to being the basis or the foundational class of professionals, the font from which all else flows. Let me propose instead a different metaphor for your consideration. I have a apocryphal uncle who was in the Navy, and he liked to drink very much. And whenever the ship was in port, there was a simple rule. You could drink as much as you wanted to. You could get as drunk as you wanted to, but you had to be able to walk back on the ship under your own power. If somebody had to carry you back on the ship, then you drank too much and you'd be punished for it. So my uncle didn't like this very much because he liked to get very drunk indeed. So he found that if he got like two other drinking buddies together, and they could get even more drunk than any one of them was able to stand it by themselves. Right, all three of them, they would like kind of like hold on to each other, and as they staggered, one would stagger one direction, the other would stagger the other direction, and they'd kind of like support each other, so all three of them could get back onto the ship, ostensibly under their own power. Now, if you take any one of those three, I mean, it was like a tripod. If you take any one of the three legs of the tripod off, they would have fallen down. So I think these three areas of culture, are kind of more like a tripod than they are. Any one is like really more foundational than the other one. As a working stiff, as a guy trying to like find his way in life, I try to take good ideas from all three of these sources. And I tended to grant people their grain of salt when they make these rather outrageous, rather circular claims about themselves as to being the foundation or the cornerstone of society. So yeah, thank you very much.